I wiped the sweat from my forehead with the back of my hand, the kitchen air thick with the smell of roasted turkey and herbs I'd been basting since dawn. My arms throbbed from chopping vegetables and stirring pots all by myself, while laughter and casual talk floated in from the living room. There they were, my husband Draven, his mother Zephyrine, and his brother Hawthorne, lounging on the couches, not once offering to lift a finger. It was Thanksgiving, and like every year for the past 22, I was the one handling everything alone. Welcome to Martha's Stories. I share new life stories here every day, and I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and liked my video. Drop a comment down below telling me where you're watching from and what time it is for you, right? Now, I read every single comment and it helps me to know I'm not alone in this. I set down the carving knife and glanced at the clock. It was almost time to serve, but my mind wasn't on the meal anymore. Hidden in the pantry behind the flour sacks were the divorce papers I'd printed out last week, crisp and waiting. They were my way out, the end to this endless cycle of being invisible in my own home. I took a deep breath, steadying myself as I plated the mashed potatoes. "Smells good in here," Draven called from the doorway, finally poking his head in. He leaned against the frame, his phone in hand, scrolling through something. "You need any help?" I forced a smile, even though his question came way too late. "No, I've got it, just finishing up." He nodded, but there was a brief moment where I saw a flicker of guilt in his eyes, before he masked it with another empty smile. It was as if he knew this was wrong, but still chose to let it happen. "Mom's been asking about the gravy. Make sure it's not too lumpy this time." Then he disappeared back to the living room, leaving me to fume silently. Zephyrine had always been like that, picky, demanding, acting like the queen of the house even though this was my kitchen, my home. I remembered the first Thanksgiving after Draven and I got married, right out of college. We were young, full of promises. He swore we'd build a life together, equal partners. But slowly it shifted. His family crept in, with Zephyrine calling the shots on holidays. Hawthorne showing up unannounced, expecting meals and favors. I'd become the caretaker, the one who kept everything running while they reaped the benefits. I carried the first platter out to the dining table, setting it down carefully. The table was set with the good china, the one Zephyrine had gifted us as a wedding present, insisting it was family heirloom quality. Hawthorne was already there, picking at the rolls I'd baked from scratch. "These look a bit dry," he said, tearing one open. "You forget the butter again?" I bit my tongue. "They're fine, fresh out of the oven." Zephyrine chimed in from her seat at the head of the table, where she'd planted herself like it was her throne. "Oh dear, don't be so sensitive. We're just giving feedback. After all, you've had years to perfect this." Years. That's what stung the most. 22 years of this, starting from when Draven and I tied the knot. I was 22 back then, fresh from university with dreams of a career. But Draven convinced me to focus on the home while he climbed the corporate ladder. "It'll be temporary," he said. But temporary turned permanent, and now at 44, I was still here, slaving away. I went back to the kitchen for the turkey, my mind flashing to how it all started eroding. Small things at first, Zephyrine dropping by uninvited, critiquing my cooking, my cleaning, even how I folded the laundry. Draven always took her side, saying, "She's just trying to help." Hawthorne was no better, treating our house like a free hotel, borrowing money he'd never repay. As I sliced the turkey, the knife slipping through the meat, I thought about the isolation that had built up. Friends drifted away because I was always too busy with family obligations. My own family, well, my parents passed early, and my cousin Meridian was the only one I stayed in touch with, but even that was distant. I'd poured everything into this marriage, this life, and what did I get? Nitpicks and disregard. "Everything ready yet?" Zephyrine shouted from the dining room. "We're starving out here." I plated the slices and carried them out. "Coming right up." Draven looked up from his phone as I set the platter down. "Looks great, hun. You outdid yourself." His compliment felt hollow, like always. I sat down at the table, but before anyone could dig in, I paused. This was the moment, but no, not yet. The papers were for later, after they'd stuffed themselves on my labor. We started eating, the clink of forks filling the silence at first. Then Zephyrine spoke up. "So Draven, how's work? That promotion's still on track?" He nodded, chewing. "Yeah, looking good. Nix has been a big help, my assistant. She's got everything organized." Nix. The name hit me like a gut punch, but I kept my face neutral. I'd heard it more often lately, always in glowing terms. But I pushed it down, focusing on my plate. Hawthorne laughed. Lucky you. Wish I had an assistant like that. Instead, I'm stuck with my dead-end job. Zephyrin patted his hand. You'll get there, dear. Family sticks together. Family, that's what they always said, but it never included me, not really. I was the outsider, the one who made it all possible, but got no credit. As the meal went on, their chatter turned to plans for the next holiday, assuming I'd handle it all again. I excused myself to the kitchen for a moment, pretending to check on dessert. Leaning against the counter, I felt the weariness settle in my bones. This wasn't just about today. It was decades of being sidelined. But those papers in the pantry, they were my ticket to freedom. I just had to get through the meal. Back at the table, Draven asked, "You okay? You seem quiet." "I'm fine," I said, sitting down. "Just tired from cooking." Zephyrin rolled her eyes. "Well, that's what holidays are for. Hard work builds character." I nodded, but inside the frustration boiled. How many times had I heard that? Too many. And it was ending tonight. As we finished the main course, I cleared the plates, my hands steady despite the storm inside. They didn't notice a thing, too wrapped up in their own world. But soon, they'd see. I cleared the last of the plates from the table, stacking them in the sink while the sound of the football game blared from the living room. Draven had flipped on the TV right after dinner, settling in with Hawthorne, beers in hand, like the meal had magically appeared without any effort from me. Zephyrin was perched on the armchair, scrolling through her phone, occasionally chuckling at something. I rinsed the dishes under the hot water, my mind racing back to that name, Nyx. It wasn't the first time Draven had mentioned her so casually, but today it hit different. I dried my hands on a towel and glanced toward the dining room, where the remnants of the meal still sat, the half-eaten pie, the scattered crumbs. "You missed a spot on that platter," Zephyrin called out without looking up. "Don't want it staining the china." I gritted my teeth and went back to wipe it down. "Got it. Thanks for the heads up." She finally glanced my way, her eyes narrowing just a bit. "You know, dear, if you organized better, cleanup wouldn't take so long. Draven tells me you're always complaining about being tired." Draven shouted from the couch. "Mom, leave her alone. She's fine." But Zephyrin's words lingered as I carried the clean platter back to the cabinet. Complaining? I never complained to him, not out loud anyway. I set the dish away and paused, staring at the pantry door. Those divorce papers were still there, but I wasn't ready to pull them out yet. Not without knowing more. Lately, things had felt off. Draven's late nights at the office, his phone always glued to him, the way he'd snap if I asked about his day. And Nyx, his assistant, kept coming up in conversations, like she was part of our family now. I finished in the kitchen and wandered toward the hallway, pretending to head to the bathroom. Draven's tablet was charging on the side table, forgotten in his rush to watch the game. I picked it up casually, my heart pounding a little. He never locked it, trusted me that much, I guess. I swiped it open and tapped into his messages, telling myself it was just a quick check. But there it was, a concealed app I'd never noticed before, tucked away in a folder labeled Work Tools. I opened it and my stomach dropped. The screen filled with chats from Nyx. Not work stuff, personal. "Can't wait for tonight," one said, with a heart emoji. "Missed you last weekend." Draven's replies were just as flirty. "Me too. We'll make up for it." I scrolled up, my fingers trembling. There were photos, nothing explicit but intimate. Them at a coffee shop, her hand on his arm. And then the money talks. Transferred that amount to the private account. Should cover the trip. Draven. "Good. Don't want her finding out." Her. That was me. A wave of nausea washed over me, my stomach sinking as the reality set in. How long had this been going on behind my back while I was in the kitchen, preparing meals for them all? How long had I been so blind? I clicked deeper, finding emails linked to the app. One from Zephyrin to Draven. "Make sure the deeds are transferred quietly. Nyx seems reliable, better than that wife of yours holding on to everything." My blood ran cold. Zephyrin knew? She was in on it all along? All these years of undermining me, and now this, actively helping Draven steal from me. She never wanted me to be part of the family. For her, I was just an outsider, something to be pushed aside when it was convenient. I heard footsteps and quickly closed the app, setting the tablet back down. Hawthorne appeared in the doorway, grabbing a leftover roll from the counter. "You okay? Look like you've seen a ghost." "Yeah, just indigestion from the meal," I muttered, forcing a weak smile. "Too much turkey." He shrugged and headed back. "Well, don't hog the bathroom if you're gonna puke." I slipped into the actual bathroom and locked the door, leaning against the sink. My reflection stared back, tired eyes, lines from years of this. Flashback hit me hard. Our wedding day, Draven promising forever in that small church. I was 22, he was 24, both fresh out of school. He worked entry level at the firm. I put my art degree on hold to support him. "We'll build together," he said. But as he climbed, I stayed home, handling everything. Zephyrine moved closer after his dad passed, inserting herself into our lives. Family helps family, she'd say, but it was always her way. Then came the odd financial alerts a few months back. Our shared banking app pinged about unusual transfers, small at first, then bigger. Draven brushed it off as investment stuff. But now, seeing those messages, it clicked. He was siphoning money for Nyx, for their plans. And Zephyrine advising him? Her resentment toward me wasn't new. She'd always favored Draven, calling me the outsider behind my back. But this? Orchestrating asset hiding? I splashed water on my face, trying to steady my breathing. The betrayal cut deep, like a knife twisting. All those years of me cooking, cleaning, hosting, unseen, unappreciated, and now this. I dried off and stepped out, hearing them laugh at the game. Draven looked up as I passed. "Join us, there's room on the couch." I shook my head. "Nah, I'm gonna rest a bit. Headache." Zephyrine piped up. "Probably from all that stress you put on yourself. Learn to delegate, dear." Delegate? To who? Them? I ignored her and went upstairs to our bedroom, closing the door. Alone, I pulled out my phone and searched the App Store for something similar to what was on his tablet. Found it, a hidden messenger, but I didn't download it yet. Instead, I thought about the retirement funds. We'd built that together, my inheritance from my parents seeded it. Now he was diverting it? Another flashback, last Christmas. Zephyrine suggested we add her name to one of the property deeds for security. Draven agreed without consulting me, saying it was just paperwork. I fought it then, but he brushed it off. Now I realized that was just the beginning of their plan to cut me out completely. I sat on the bed, anger bubbling up. How dare they? I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. But I couldn't confront yet, needed more proof. I texted my cousin Meridian, "Hey, need to talk soon, family stuff." She replied quick, "Anytime." "What's up?" "Not now," I typed back, "but thanks." Downstairs, the game ended, and I heard them stirring. Zephyrine, "Draven, don't forget to check those accounts tomorrow. Can't let things slip." His voice low. "I know, Mom, it's handled." Handled. My hands clenched. That confirmed it. They were plotting right under my nose. I lay back, staring at the ceiling. The isolation hit harder now, knowing my own husband and his family saw me as disposable. But this revelation, it was the spark. No more victim. I had to dig deeper. As night fell, they finally left. Zephyrine hugged Draven extra long at the door. "Take care of business, son." Hawthorne slapped him on the back. "Yeah, bro, see you soon." I waved from the doorway, fake smile plastered on. Once the car pulled away, I locked up and went straight to Draven's jacket, hanging in the closet. Patted the pockets, found a lipstick-stained napkin, cherry red, not my shade, and a receipt for a hotel downtown dated last week. Draven came up behind me as I stared at it. "What are you doing?" I shoved it back in. "Just hanging it properly. You left it messy." He eyed me but shrugged. "Okay, coming to bed?" "In a minute." I waited till he was in the shower, then snapped photos of the napkin and receipt with my phone. Evidence, small but starting. That night, as he slept, I lay awake. The messages replayed in my head. "Nyx pregnant?" "No, the chats didn't say that. Wait, one did mention our future family." My heart raced. Was there a kid involved? No, couldn't be. But the schemes to hide assets, that was real. Zephyrines' emails proving her role. Frustration built. How had I been so blind? Therapy last year I went alone, Draven calling it whining. The counselor said watch for signs. Well, here they were. Morning came, Draven kissed my cheek before work. "Love you, see you tonight." "Love you too," I said, the words tasting bitter. As he left, I booted up my laptop. Time to check those bank alerts again. Logged in, more transfers disguised as charity, linked to a new account. My fingers flew, screenshotting everything. This wasn't just an affair, it was theft, betrayal on every level. And I wasn't going to let it slide. I sat at the kitchen table the next morning, nursing a cup of coffee that had gone cold while I stared at my phone screen. The screenshots from the bank app glowed back at me, those charity transfers adding up to thousands over the last 6 months. Draven had already left for work, his goodbye kiss feeling like a slap now that I knew about Nyx and the hidden plans. I set the phone down and rubbed my temples, the headache from last night still pounding. How had it come to this? I needed to talk to someone, But who? My friends had faded over the years, busy with their own lives while I drowned in this family's demands. I picked up the phone again and dialed Meridian, my cousin. She answered on the second ring, her voice bright and concerned. "Hey, you! What's going on? Your text last night sounded urgent." I took a deep breath, glancing around the empty kitchen where crumbs from yesterday's meal still littered the counter. "Meridian, I think Draven's cheating. And it's worse. There's money involved. Like he's hiding assets with his mom's help." She paused, then her tone shifted to serious. "Whoa, slow down. Cheating? With who? And assets? Tell me everything." I paced the floor, my slippers scuffing against the tiles as I recounted finding the hidden app, the flirty messages, Zephyrine emails about deeds, the napkin and receipt. It's Nix, his assistant. They've been planning trips, transfers, and Zephyrine, she's been pushing him to secure things quietly. I feel so stupid for not seeing it sooner. Meridian whistled low. "That's heavy. You sure it's not just work stuff?" "No, wait, that napkin says otherwise. Listen, you need to document everything. Don't confront yet, get proof." I had a friend go through this. She lost half her savings because she acted too fast. I nodded even though she couldn't see me. "Yeah, I've got screenshots, but it's killing me." Pretending everything's fine. Last night, after they left, I went through his jacket, found that stuff. And their family chat, I peeked at Draven's phone later. Hawthorne sent a message joking about my obsessive cleaning like I'm the joke. "That's toxic," Meridian said. "Zephyrine's always been controlling. Remember when she crashed our anniversary trip 5 years ago, demanding we change all our plans to suit her needs? Draven just let it happen." I stopped pacing and leaned against the counter, memories flooding back. Exactly. And therapy, I started going alone last year because I felt so isolated. Draven called it overdramatic, said I was making problems where there weren't any. But now, this proves I wasn't crazy. We talked for another half hour, her advising me to stay calm, maybe see my therapist again. "Journal it all," she said. "Dates, amounts, everything. And hey, if you need a place to crash, my door's open." "Thanks, Meridian, I might take you up on that." I hung up, feeling a bit less alone, but still seething. I opened my laptop and started a secret folder, dumping in the photos of the napkin, receipt, and screenshots. Then I logged into our joint accounts again, digging deeper. There were emails from the bank about unusual activity. I forwarded them to my personal email, just in case. The doorbell rang, startling me. I closed the laptop quick and went to answer it. There stood Hawthorne, unannounced as usual, holding a takeout coffee like he owned the place. "Hey, sis-in-law, left my wallet here last night. Mind if I look around?" I stepped aside, forcing a smile. "Sure, come in. Living room, maybe?" He brushed past me, heading straight there. "Yeah, probably on the couch. Man, that turkey was killer yesterday. Too bad the cranberries were a bit sweet. Next time, tone it down, eh?" I followed him, irritation bubbling. "I'll keep that in mind. You guys enjoy the game?" He rummaged under the cushions, pulling out his wallet with a grin. "Oh yeah, nailed it. Draven's got the best setup. Hey, you okay? You look wiped." "I'm fine," I said, crossing my arms. "Just cleaning up after everyone." Hawthorne laughed, pocketing the wallet. "That's your thing, right? The perfect hostess. Zephyrine always says you're a trooper." Trooper. Like it was a compliment. I watched him head to the door. "Yeah, well, someone has to do it." He paused, turning back. "You know, if you need help with anything, just ask. Family, right?" I nodded, but inside I fumed. "Family? The same family mocking me in their group chat?" I closed the door behind him and checked. My phone, sure enough, the family forum had new messages. Draven, "Mom confirmed the transfer." Zephyrine, "Good boy, keep it quiet." And Hawthorne, "LOL, her cleaning obsession. At least the house is spotless. Too bad she's such a control freak about it." I slammed the phone down, tears stinging my eyes. How could they? I'd spent years making their lives easier, hosting every holiday, cooking meals alone while they sat back and mocked me. This wasn't just betrayal, it was a lifetime of my effort thrown away. And this was the thanks, betrayal, and jokes. I grabbed a notebook from the drawer and started jotting down everything. Dates of transfers, message timestamps, even Hawthorne's visit today. It felt like a vow, silent revenge building. That afternoon, I drove to my therapist's office, the one Draven dismissed. Dr. Ellis welcomed me in, her office cozy with plants and soft lighting. "It's been a while. What's bringing you back?" I sat on the couch, twisting my hands. "My marriage, it's falling apart. I found out Draven's having an affair with his assistant, Nix. And his mom's involved in hiding money. She leaned forward, notepad ready. That sounds devastating. Tell me more. I spilled it all. The app, emails, napkin, receipts, the isolation. I've been the silent pillar for 22 years. Married young, gave up my art dreams for his career. Now this? I feel exhausted alone. Dr. Ellis nodded. It's common in these dynamics. You've been enabling by staying quiet. But recognizing it is the first step. What do you want to do? I want out, I said, surprising myself with the firmness. But I need to be smart. Protect myself financially. We strategized for the hour, more documentation, maybe a lawyer consult. Don't rush, she warned. Build your case. Leaving Dr. Ellis's office, a spark of determination ignited inside me. I wasn't going to let this happen anymore. No more waiting for them to slip up. I was going to take control. This wasn't just about surviving anymore. It was about fighting back. But back home, Draven called, Hey, hun, working late tonight. Nix and I have a deadline. Nix again. I gripped the phone. Okay, I'll eat alone. Sorry, he said, not sounding it. Love you. Love you too. I hung up and threw the phone on the couch. Late nights, now I knew what they really were. Dates, planning their future while I sat here. I rummaged through old photo albums in the attic, dust making me sneeze. Pictures of us young, happy. Then later ones, with Zephyrine always in the frame, Hawthorne tagging along, receipts tucked in, old hotel ones from Draven's business trips. I compared dates to the recent one. Patterns emerged, same hotel chain, midweek stays. My phone buzzed, a text from Zephyrine. Dear, planning Christmas already. Make sure the ham's organic this year, and less salt in the sides. I stared at her message, fury rising in my chest. How dare she assume I'd just jumped to her demands again, like nothing had changed? I wasn't her servant anymore, I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. Sure, busy now. But inside, I was boiling over with rage. Her response, don't be short. Family traditions matter. I didn't answer. Instead, I added her text to my evidence folder, proof of her entitlement. The loneliness hit peak then, sitting in the dim attic surrounded by memories of a life that felt like a lie. That evening, alone with takeout, I scrolled through social media, saw posts from old college friends, careers, travels. What had I given up? Everything for this. Draven came home late, around midnight. I pretended to sleep as he slipped into bed. Night, he murmured. I lay there, eyes open in the dark. The frustration built like a storm. Therapy helped, Meridian too, but I needed more. Tomorrow, I'd dig deeper. No more stuck victim. This was just the beginning. I woke up before dawn a week after Thanksgiving. The house still dark and quiet except for the hum of the fridge in the kitchen. My eyes burned from lack of sleep, but the anger kept me going. I couldn't just sit on what I'd found. Draven was already at work, or so he said, and I had the place to myself. I brewed a strong pot of coffee and sat at my laptop, pulling up the secret folder I'd started. The screenshots, the napkin photo, the old receipts, they were a start, but I needed real proof. Something that would hold up if this went to court. Meridian's words echoed in my head. Document everything. Build a case. So, I searched online for private investigators, my fingers hovering over the keys before I picked one with good reviews, tech-savvy, discreet. His name was Peregrine, and I emailed him right away, attaching what I had. By mid-morning, my phone rang. This is Peregrine, a calm professional voice said. I got your email. Sounds like a classic asset concealment case mixed with infidelity. We can meet today if you're free, neutral spot like a coffee shop downtown. I hesitated for a second, glancing at the clock. Draven wouldn't be home till evening. Yeah, let's do it. 1 hour? See you then, he replied. Bring any devices you have access to, phone, tablet. We'll start there. I grabbed Draven's old tablet, the one with the hidden app, and headed out, my heart pounding in my chest. The thought of meeting a stranger to expose my husband's betrayal sent a chill through me, but I couldn't turn back now. The coffee shop was busy, but I spotted Peregrine easily, mid-50s, glasses, looking like an accountant more than a detective. He waved me over to a corner table away from the crowd. Sit, he said, sliding a notepad across. Tell me everything, no holding back. I leaned in, keeping my voice low. It's my husband, Draven, affair with his assistant, Nix. Hiding money, transfers to secret accounts, maybe crypto. His mom, Zephyrine, is involved. Emails about deeds. And his brother Hawthorne knows too from their chats. Peregrine nodded, jotting notes. Standard playbook. First, we'll clone his devices if possible. You have the tablet? I handed it over under the table. Yeah, password's his birthday, simple. He plugged it into a small gadget from his bag. This'll mirror it without him knowing. Now for finances, give me account logins. I'll pull credit reports, trace IPs. I wrote down the details on a napkin, my hand shaking a bit. What if he finds out? Won't, Peregrine assured me. I'm careful. Cost is $500 up front, more if we go deep. Deal? Deal, I said, sliding cash across. Start with the money trails. He worked quietly for a few minutes, tapping away at his laptop. I could see the faint glow of the screen reflecting in his glasses as he entered a series of commands bypassing Draven's security measures with practiced ease. Okay, initial scan. Biometric locked files on his cloud. Fingerprint or Face ID, common for hiding stuff. I can bypass with tools back at my office? Give me a day. I sipped my coffee, the bitterness matching my mood. What about locations? He's been at hotels. G-fencing, Peregrine explained. If his phone's location services are on, we can map it. Link to withdrawals, ATMs near those spots? Yeah, the receipts match, I said. In crypto, those charity donations look suspicious. He smiled faintly. Crypto's my specialty. Wallets leave trails if you know where to look. I'll check blockchain explorers. We wrapped up and I drove home, my mind buzzing. Alone again, I logged into our credit reports from my laptop. Something I should have done months ago. There they were, unauthorized pulls, new cards in Draven's name only, and transfers to a wallet address disguised as donations. My pulse quickened as I copied the hashes, public ledger, anyone could see, but I needed context. That night, Draven came home late again, smelling faintly of perfume, not mine. For a split second, his eyes met mine, and there was something there, guilt. Maybe? But it disappeared as quickly as it came, replaced by the same practiced indifference. Rough day, he muttered, dropping his bag. Nix and I nailed that project, though. I forced a smile from the couch where I was pretending to watch TV. Good for you. Dinner's in the fridge. He grabbed a plate and sat beside me. You seem off lately. Everything okay? Just stressed, I lied, my eyes on the screen. Holiday cleanup, you know. He chuckled. Yeah, Mom mentioned you're short in texts. Don't take it personal. She's like that. I turned to him, keeping it casual. Speaking of any big expenses coming up, saw some alerts on the app. His fork paused midair. Nah, just work stuff, investments. Don't worry about it. Okay, I said, but inside, suspicion accelerated. Investments, code for hiding? The next morning, Peregrine called early. Got something. Meet at the park. Less eyes. I hurried there, my steps quick and determined. This wasn't just about collecting proof anymore. It was about taking control. Peregrine was my ally, and this was the moment I knew I couldn't turn back. Biometric files cracked, he said, handing it over. Nix's medical claims fabricated. Doctor notes for stress leave, but dates match your hotel receipts. She's not sick. It's cover for time off with him. I flipped through the printouts, shock hitting me. And Zephyrine? Texts recovered, Peregrine continued. She's arranging sham investments, fake LLCs to mask siphoned assets. One message, move the retirement chunk before she audits. Clear intent to defraud. My hands clenched the papers. Bastards, what about Hawthorne? He pulled out a USB drive. Deleted voicemail from his phone, recovered it. Listen. I plugged earbuds in, hitting play. Hawthorne's voice. Bro, securing the family fortune from her grasp. Mom's got the deeds ready. Nix is in finally ditching the dead weight. I yanked the buds out, rage surging. He's complicit, all of them. Peregrine nodded. Evidence mounts. Now crypto, those donations, wallet transfers to an exchange under Nix's email. Geofence data pins Draven at luxury rentals, Airbnbs, not hotels sometimes, photos incoming. He emailed me the files, timestamps, maps overlaying his phone, pings with cash withdrawals for gifts, jewelry receipts linked to Nix's social media likes. My pursuit intensified. This wasn't just betrayal, it was a conspiracy. Back home, I pored over it all at the kitchen table, dawn light filtering in. Alone, I scrutinized the credit reports again, spotting more. Offshore wires disguised as business. My heart raced. How deep did this go? Draven texted, lunch meeting with Nix, home late. I replied, okay. But inwardly, the detective in me shifted gears. I called Meridian. 'Cause it's worse. Hired a PI, proof of fraud, family involved. She gasped. Oh my God, what now? Build more, I said. Can't stop. We talked strategy, her voice steadying me. Stay safe, document, don't confront. Hanging up, tension built. Draven noticed my distant texts later that day. "You mad about something?" he messaged. "No," I typed back. "Just busy." But I was accelerating, piecing it together. Peregrine sent more. Voice memo from Hawthorne boasts about the will changes too. I listened alone in the bedroom, his laugh echoing. Finally getting rid of her. Assets safe. Fury fueled me. This revelation about Hawthorne's full complicity pushed me harder. I met Peregrine one more time that week at a cafe. "Next steps?" I asked. "Digital forensics deeper," he said. "AI tools to analyze patterns. But you're onto something big, possible charges." I nodded, paying him more. "Keep digging." Driving home, suspense gripped me. What if they suspected? But no turning back. The evidence stacked. Biometrics, texts, voicemails, geodata, crypto trails. My indignation turned to determination. This family was going down. That evening, Zephyrine called. "Dear, about Christmas, expecting the usual spread." I gripped the phone. "Sure, planning now." "Good," she said smugly. "Don't disappoint." I hung up, repressing the urge to scream. Instead, I added her call log to the folder. The hunt was on. I sat in my living room about 2 weeks after meeting Peregrine in the park. The folder of evidence spread out on the coffee table like a war map. The geofence data maps showed Draven's phone pinging at those luxury rentals with Nix, and the crypto wallet transfers stared back at me. Cold proof of the money he'd siphoned. My hands shook as I organized it all. Printouts, USB drives, notes. I couldn't do this alone anymore. The weight was crushing me. I picked up my phone and dialed Meridian again, my voice steady but urgent when she answered. "Hey, it's me," I said. "Things are escalating." The PI found more fake medical claims from Nix, texts from Zephyrine about sham investments, even a voicemail from Hawthorne gloating about cutting me out. I need help piecing this together. Meridian's tone turned sharp with concern. "Jesus, that's insane." "Okay, come over. I'm home all day. Bring everything. We'll sort it." I gathered the files into a bag and drove to her place, a cozy apartment across town where she'd lived since her own divorce years ago. She greeted me at the door with a hug, her eyes scanning my face. "You look exhausted." "Come in, I made tea." We settled at her kitchen table, and I laid out the evidence, my hands shaking slightly as I spread the papers. The weight of it all was starting to feel unbearable. "Look at this," I said, pointing to the biometric files. "Nick's faked sick days to meet him, and the crypto transfers to her account disguised." Meridian flipped through the pages, her brow furrowing. "This is fraud, plain and simple. Zephyrine has always been a meddler. Remember how she derailed Draven's college girlfriend? Spread rumors until the girl left. She's doing the same to you, but with money involved." I nodded, the memory hitting hard. "Yeah, she told me once Draven needs someone who fits the family. Guess I never did." But Hawthorne's voicemail, it's him laughing about securing the fortune. They're all in it. She set down the papers and looked at me seriously. "You need a lawyer. I know one specializes in digital forensics and asset tracing. Let me call her." Meridian pulled out her phone and dialed, putting it on speaker. A woman's voice answered. "This is Attorney Larkspur." "Yokosambus de Gos." "Hi, Larkspur, it's Meridian. My cousin's in a bad spot. Husband's affair, hidden assets, family conspiracy. She's got evidence from a PI. Can you help?" Larkspur paused, then said, "Send me the details. The initial consult's free, but if we prove fraud, I can get a court order to freeze their accounts within a day." I leaned in. "Thank you. I'll email it now." "What about leverage? Like something to expose their lies?" "Digital stuff's gold," Larkspur replied. "If there's metadata mismatches, we can use it." "You mentioned AI-enhanced image analysis?" "Yeah," I said. "Peregrine suggested it. Altered timestamps on affair photos." Meridian jumped in. "He can run that. Larkspur, connect with him?" "Absolutely," the lawyer said. "Get me his contact. We'll verify the images. Mismatched metadata could show Nix's own deceptions. Like if she's playing Draven, too." We hung up, and I felt a surge of hope mixed with tension. "This is building," I told Meridian. "But Draven's noticing I'm distant. Last night, he asked why I'm quiet." She squeezed my hand tightly, her voice steady and firm. "I know this is killing you, but hold it together. We need more before you make your move." I nodded, but inside the strain mounted. Back home that afternoon, I emailed Larkspur the files and Peregrine's number. Then I called Peregrine. "Hey, my lawyer wants to collaborate and run that AI image analysis on the photos." "On it," he said. "I'll use tools to scan metadata, EXIF data, edits. If timestamps don't match geodata, it's leverage." By evening, Peregrine texted, "Preliminary results. Photos altered. Timestamps faked, but metadata shows Nix edited them, her device's signature. She's hiding something, maybe another guy." I stared at the message, my pulse racing. Nix deceiving Draven? That could flip everything. I forwarded it to Larkspur and Meridian. Draven came home early for once, surprising me in the kitchen as I pretended to chop vegetables. "Hey, what's for dinner?" he asked, wrapping an arm around me. I stiffened but forced a smile. "Stir fry, how was your day?" "Good," he said, eyeing me. "You've been on your phone a lot. Everything okay?" "Yeah, just chatting with Meridian," I replied, keeping my voice even. "Catching up." He nodded slowly, but his eyes lingered longer than usual, suspicion flickering in them. "Cool. Say hi for me," he added. But there was something in his voice, something that made me feel like he was watching me more closely now. I turned back to the stove, repressing the fury boiling inside. How could he act so normal while plotting against me? That night, as he watched TV, I slipped upstairs and installed a discrete app tracker on our shared home computer, the one he used for work. It was Peregrine's idea, a simple keylogger and screen monitor. Non-invasive, he'd said. Catches emails, logins. The next morning, Larkspur called. "Got the files. Strong case, fraudulent transfers, complicity. We can petition to freeze assets tomorrow if you want." "Do it," I said, "but quietly. I need more intel." She agreed. "And the AI analysis? Peregrine's sending it over. Mismatched metadata confirms Nix altered photos. Leverage against her, too. Maybe she's scamming Draven." I hung up and met Meridian for lunch at a quiet diner. "This changes things," I told her, sliding into the booth. "Nix might not be loyal to him." Meridian nodded, sipping her coffee. "Use it. If we get her to flip, she could testify." We brainstormed over sandwiches, how to approach Nix anonymously, maybe through Peregrine. "But careful," Meridian warned. "Don't tip off the family." Tension built as I drove home. Draven texted, "Mom coming over tonight. Family dinner?" I gripped the wheel. "Sure," I replied. Repressing the anger, I prepped food, but my mind was on the allies forming. Meridian, Larkspur, Peregrine. Zephyrine arrived with Hawthorne in tow, both chatty as they sat at the table. "Smells decent," Zephyrine said, inspecting the plates, "though the salad looks wilted." I bit my tongue. "Fresh from the store." Hawthorne dug in. "Hey, Draven says you're stressed. Need a break?" "I'm fine," I said, forcing politeness. Draven joined us, and dinner dragged with their small talk, work, holidays. But I overheard Zephyrine whisper to Draven, "Check the investments? Secure?" He nodded subtly. "Yeah." My blood boiled, but I repressed it, smiling through dessert. After they left, I checked the app tracker. Draven had logged into the crypto exchange right after dinner, transferring more. I called Peregrine immediately. "Got fresh activity. Track it." "Will do," he said. And AI results final. Metadata exposes Nix's edits. Photos taken on dates she claimed sick. But location data mismatches her story. Leverage gold. I paced the living room, allies rallying. Meridian texted, "Larkspur says file for temporary orders soon. Hang in." The phase accelerated to tense, Draven probing my behavior, me stifling fury while planting the tracker. A small twist. The app caught an email from Nix to Draven. "We need to talk about the baby. It's not what you think." "Baby?" My stomach dropped. Was there a child? But the metadata suggested deception. I forwarded it to Larkspur. "Perfect," she replied. This could make her turn. Gathering these allies shifted me from lone detective to supported hunter. But the repression gnawed. Draven slept beside me that night, oblivious. I lay awake, planning the next move. The following day, Peregrine met me at the park again. Tracker data, more wires for gifts. And Nix's deceptions, AI shows she photoshopped dates to hide overlaps with another contact. I took the report. "Send to Larkspur. We're building an army here." He nodded. "You're close. Stay repressed, don't explode yet." Back home, Zephyrine called. "Dear, Hawthorne mentioned you're distant. Problems?" "No," I said sweetly. "Just busy." She huffed. "Well, keep it together for Draven's sake." I hung up, fury contained. Allies in place, evidence mounting. I was ready for the reversal. I was in my home office a couple of weeks into December, the tension growing with every new discovery. My laptop open as I reviewed the latest from Peregrine. He just emailed a breakdown from a cyber auditor he recommended. Detailed logs of NFT transactions Draven had hidden in some obscure digital wallet. These weren't just random investments. They were marital assets he'd converted without my knowledge, timestamped to match his meetups with Nix. I printed the report, my fingers flying over the keys to back it up on a USB drive. This was innovative proof, something that could nail him in court for fraud. Larkspur had already said it would strengthen our petition to freeze everything. The door creaked open behind me and I spun around in my chair. There was Zephyrine, standing in the doorway with her purse slung over her shoulder, her eyes darting to the papers on my desk. "What are you doing here?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. "Draven's not home." She stepped in without invitation, her heels clicking on the hardwood floor. I let myself in with the spare key. Needed to drop off some documents for Draven. "But look at you, buried in all this mess. What is that, financial statements?" I stood up quickly, gathering the printouts into a stack. "None of your business. You can't just barge in like this." Zephyrine smirked, her eyes scanning the papers with that familiar, calculating look. She moved closer, her hand reaching toward the desk as if she owned it, her presence like a weight pressing down on me. "Oh, come on, dear. We're family. What's the harm in a little peek?" Before I could stop her, she snatched one of the pages, the auditor's summary with the NFT logs highlighted. "Give that back," I demanded, grabbing for it. She pulled away, her eyes scanning the document, widening as she read. Her face hardened and she whispered harshly, "What is this? Spying on Draven? You think you can dig into our family affairs like some paranoid wife?" The words hit harder than I expected, especially the part about my therapy. That was the one thing Draven never understood, how much it had helped me, and how easily Zephyrine could twist it. "It's not spying," I shot back, keeping my voice low in case neighbors heard. "It's protecting what's mine. I know about the affair, the hidden accounts, your texts about sham investments, all of it." Zephyrine crumpled the paper slightly in her fist, her cheeks flushing. "You have no idea what you're talking about. Draven's just securing his future, our future. If you pursue this nonsense, I'll discredit you publicly. Tell everyone about your mental issues, those therapy sessions you hide. Make sure no one believes a word you say." I felt a chill run down my spine, a wave of fear mingling with something darker, an inner strength awakening. I was no longer the victim. I was ready to fight. I stepped closer, my voice steady. "Threaten me all you want, Zephyrine. But I've got more than papers. Drone footage from our backyard cabin shows Draven and Nyx there, clear as day. Timestamps match the transfers. You really want to push this?" She faltered for a second, her eyes flickering with doubt. "You're bluffing. Draven would have told me if—" "Am I?" I interrupted, bluffing hard but holding her gaze. "Test me. Go ahead, run to him. But by then, it'll be too late." Zephyrine shoved the paper back at me, her whisper turning venomous. "You're making a mistake. This family sticks together. You'll regret crossing us." She turned on her heel and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I leaned against the desk, my heart pounding. Internally, I was fraught. Had I said too much? The drone footage was a lie. Peregrine hadn't gotten that yet, but it bought me time. I hurried to my laptop, fingers trembling as I copied all the files to the cloud and another drive. If she warned Draven now, he might lock me out of everything. I texted Peregrine. "Urgent, speed up the drone check on the cabin. Zephyrine just snooped." He replied quick. "On it. Backup secure?" "Yes," I typed, exhaling slowly, but the tension didn't ease. I paced the office, replaying the clash. Her threat to discredit me, it hit close, knowing my therapy history. Draven had dismissed it, but she could twist it. My phone dinged with an email notification. I sat down and opened it, expecting something from Larkspur. Instead, it was from Hawthorne, subject, "Will draft update." My stomach twisted. Why was he emailing me? I clicked it open, scanning the body. "Bro, attach the revised will like Mom said. Cuts her out clean, undermines the prenup with that clause we added. Let me know changes." Attached was a PDF, a draft will revision, listing assets like our house, the cabin, even the crypto wallets. The words on the screen blurred for a second, rerouted to Draven, Zephyrine, and Hawthorne. It was like a punch to the gut. They had planned this all along, every asset, every cent they could steal from me. It unveiled their full intent, not just hiding money, but rewriting everything to erase me legally. But wait, he'd sent it to me by mistake? My email was similar to Draven's easy mix-up. I forwarded it straight to Larkspur and Peregrine, my mind racing. Mistaken email from Hawthorne draft will. Leverage? Larkspur called immediately. "This is gold. Shows premeditated fraud. We can use it to counter any prenup claims. File it with the petition." Perfect. I said, my voice tense, but Zephyrine might alert Draven any minute. Stay calm, she advised. Repress any reactions. Act normal tonight. I hung up and deleted the email from my inbox, but saved copies everywhere. This unexpected turn shifted everything, from hunted to hunter. I had the leverage now, and I was ready to use it. But I was still fraught, hurrying to secure more. Draven came home an hour later, earlier than usual. Hey, he said, dropping his keys. Mom called, said she stopped by. Everything okay? I forced a casual tone from the kitchen, stirring a pot I wasn't really cooking. Yeah, she dropped off papers. We chatted. He eyed me. She sounded upset. You two argue? No, I lied, plating fake dinner. Just the usual. Hungry? He sat at the table watching me. You've been weird lately, distant. If something's wrong, tell me. I set the plate down, repressing the urge to explode. I'm fine. Work stress, I guess. Inside, my predator side plotted, use this will draft to blindside them. We ate in silence mostly, him glancing at his phone. It buzzed, a text from Zephyrine, I bet. He typed back quick, then looked up. Mom says you seem nosy about finances. What's that about? I met his eyes, bluffing again. Nothing, she misheard. Pass the salt? He did, but suspicion lingered. After dinner, he went to his study. I waited till he was on a call, then checked my email. Peregrine. Drone footage secured. Real this time, cabin cams show them, backed up. Relief washed over me, but tension peaked. Zephyrine's snooping had forced my hand, awakening the hunter fully. The mistaken email was the twist I needed. I texted Meridian. Big reversal, got a will draft by mistake. Zephyrine confronted me. She replied, Whoa, stay repressed, we're close. That night, as Draven slept, I lay awake. Data backups complete. The phase was tense. I'd bluffed my way out, but they were circling. Tomorrow, Larkspur would file. My inner predator smiled in the dark. They had no idea what was coming. The next morning, Hawthorne texted me, must have realized his error. Hey, disregard that email. Wrong send. I didn't reply, just screenshot it for the folder. Leverage stacked. I met Peregrine at the cafe later, handing him a drive. Add this will draft. Link it to the NFTs. He nodded. This reverses everything. You're the hunter now. Back home, Zephyrine showed up unannounced again. We need to talk, she said at the door. I let her in, voice calm. About what? She paced the living room. Whatever you think you know, drop it. For the family's sake. I crossed my arms. Or what? More threats? Her eyes narrowed. You'll lose everything. Draven's filing first. Bluff or real? I repressed panic. We'll see. She left fuming, and I called Larkspur. They might know something. Speed up the freeze. Done, she said. Petition goes in today. The reversal hit me from victim to poised but tense. The mistaken email unveiled their plan. My bluff held. I was ready to strike. I woke up the next morning, a few days after the latest confrontation. My phone buzzing on the nightstand, the screen lighting up with a text from Peregrine. Meet at the park in an hour. Got VR reconstructions ready, links everything. I glanced over at Draven, still asleep beside me. His breathing steady like he didn't have a care in the world. I slipped out of bed quietly, my bare feet cold on the floor, my mind racing. Every step felt heavier as I grabbed clothes from the closet, the weight of the lies pressing on me. The tension from Zephyrines' confrontation yesterday still gnawed at me, her threats echoing in my head, but I pushed it down. No outbursts, not yet. I had to contain it all, keep playing the part while the pieces fell into place. Downstairs, I brewed coffee and checked my email quick. Larkspur had sent an update. Petition filed. Asset freeze should hit in 48 hours. Stay low. I deleted it right away just in case Draven snooped. He came down as I poured a cup, rubbing his eyes. Morning, you up early? Yeah, couldn't sleep, I said, handing him the mug. Meeting a friend for coffee later. You? Office stuff, he replied, sipping. Nix is helping with a big report, might be late again. I nodded, forcing a smile. Sounds important. Don't work too hard. He kissed my cheek. Love you. See you tonight. Love you too. The words stuck in my throat as he grabbed his bag and left. Once the door clicked shut, I let out a slow breath, the repression like a tight band around my chest. I headed to the park, the winter air crisp and biting as I walked the path to our usual bench. Peregrine was already there, laptop open, wearing a thick coat against the chill. Sit, he said, not looking up. This is next level. Virtual reality reconstructions from the surveillance feeds we pulled, security cams, phone GPS, even traffic cams I accessed legally. I sat beside him, pulling my coat tighter. Show me. He handed me a pair of VR glasses from his bag. Put these on. It's immersive. Charts Draven's clandestine paths over the last 6 months. Ties directly to unauthorized wire transfers for lavish purchases. I slipped them on and the world shifted. A 3D map unfolded before me, glowing lines tracing Draven's every move. From the office to the luxury rentals with Nick's, the detours to jewelry stores, and high-end restaurants, they were all laid out in front of me, the financial crimes lining up like a perfect storm. Pop-ups showed wire transfers, $500 here, $2,000 there, timestamps matching the paths. See this? Peregrine's voice came through the earpiece. That red line? Hotel downtown, same day as a transfer for a necklace. Receipt links to Nix's social media post, subtle brag. I turned my head in the VR, zooming in on a cluster of points. And the cabin? Ties in? Yep, he said. Drone footage overlays here. Shows him arriving with her. Cash withdrawal earlier for wine and gifts. All unauthorized from joint accounts. I pulled off the glasses, my pulse racing. This is solid. Send it to Larkspur. Add to the petition. Already prepping, Peregrine replied, closing his laptop. But watch your back. If they're suspicious, they might accelerate plans. I nodded, handing back the gear. I know. Zephyrine ambushed me yesterday, threats. And Hawthorne's email mistake? It's our edge. He stood up. Good. Stay repressed. No slips. We parted ways, and I walked home. The VR images burned into my mind. It was creative, novel, tying physical paths to financial crimes. But the tension escalated. I felt like a target now. Back in the kitchen, I called Larkspur while making lunch. Got new evidence from Peregrine VR maps linking routes to transfers. Her voice was crisp over the line. Excellent. I'll incorporate it. Initiating asset holds today. Temporary order to lock the crypto and properties. Do it, I said, before they move more. Consider it done, she replied. Any more confrontations? Zephyrine snooped, I admitted, threatened to discredit me. Larkspur paused, her voice calm and authoritative. Document everything. Any note, text, or verbal threat, keep it all. We'll use it. You're not alone in this. Just verbal, I said. But yeah, noting it now. We hung up and I jotted it in my journal, repressing the urge to call Zephyrine and unleash everything. Instead, I busied myself with chores, vacuuming the living room to burn off the energy. The phone rang mid-afternoon, Zephyrine. I stared at it, then answered. Hello? Dear, she said, her tone syrupy but edged. We need to talk. I'm coming over. Before I could respond, she hung up. 20 minutes later, the doorbell rang. I opened it, and there she was, bundled in her fur coat, face set like stone. Let me in. This is important. I stepped aside. What's this about? She marched to the couch and sat, gesturing for me to join. Sit. I've been thinking about our little chat yesterday. You need to forgive, for the family's sake. Preserve the legacy. Draven's made mistakes, but we can fix this quietly. I sat across from her, hands folded in my lap to hide the tremble. Forgive? You mean ignore the affair, the fraud? Zephyrine leaned forward, eyes pleading but sharp. It's not fraud protecting assets. Nix is just a phase. Drop whatever you're digging into and we'll make it right. Add you back to the deeds properly. I wanted to laugh, to yell about the will draft, the NFTs, but I restrained myself. And if I don't? Her face hardened and she leaned in closer, her voice lowering to a dangerous whisper. Then things get messy, publicly. Your therapy? People will talk and they'll believe me. Don't force our hand. I stood up slowly. I need time to think. She rose too, adjusting her coat. Don't take too long. Family first. She left, the door slamming softly. I locked it behind her and leaned against it, breathing hard. The ambush fueled my fire, but I held back, using the interval to text Larkspur. Zephyrine just pushed forgiveness. Threats again. Proceed with holds. Got it, she replied. Holds initiating now. Court notified. I paced the house, tension peaking. Draven texted. Mom said she visited. You okay? Fine, I typed back, just chatting. But inside, I was coiled tight. I went to the home office, pulling out old property files from the safe, deeds for the house, the cabin. I spread them on the desk, scrutinizing signatures under a lamp. Something caught my eye on the cabin deed. My signature looked off. The loop on the Y, too perfect. I compared it to a real one from our marriage cert, not matching. My heart skipped. I scanned it into my computer using a free forgery checker app Peregrine had suggested earlier. Results popped up. Digital inconsistencies, layers edited, signature pasted. A forged power of attorney document attached, giving Draven control to transfer without me. I sat back, staring. This was it, the culmination. They'd forged my sign-off to hide assets. I forwarded the scan to Larkspur and Peregrine. Found forged POA on cabin deed. Digital edit traces. Larkspur called right away. This propels us forward. Fraud charge material. I'll amend the petition. Emergency hearing possible. Do it, I said, voice steady now. I'm ready. Hanging up, I felt the shift from pursued to poised striker. But the repression lingered. Draven came home soon after, carrying takeout. Thought we'd relax tonight. You seem tense. I took the bags. Yeah, rough day, thanks. We ate at the table, him chatting about work. Nix nailed that presentation. She's a lifesaver. I nodded, fork midway. Good. Any big expenses lately? Bills seem high. He waved it off. Nah, just life. Don't worry. But I did. After dinner, he went to watch TV. I slipped upstairs, checking email, Peregrine. VR files sent. Forgery confirmed via software. Metadata shows Zephyrine computer IP on the edit. I clenched my fist, her involvement direct. Tension maxed, but I contained it, planning the attack. Meridian called later. How you holding? Barely, I whispered from the bathroom. Forged doc found. Assets freezing soon. Stay strong, she said. You're almost there. I hung up, staring at my reflection. The phase peaked. I was hunted no more, ready to strike. But one slip and it could unravel. Draven knocked. You coming down? In a minute, I called, repressing the explosion. Tomorrow it would change. I stood in the kitchen, the familiar scent of roasted turkey filling the air once again. My hands moving on autopilot as I basted the bird and stirred the gravy. A year had passed since that last Thanksgiving when I'd first hidden the divorce papers. And now, another one had arrived, a year of silent tension and calculated moves, too raw from the initial revelations to act. Now another Thanksgiving had dawned, and I labored solo as always, chopping vegetables and setting the table while Draven, Zephyrine, and Hawthorne lounged in the living room, their laughter drifting in like it had every holiday. But this time I was armed, not just with platters of food, but with the thick stack of divorce filings in the drawer, appended by every piece of damning evidence. The NFT transaction logs, the AI-enhanced image forensics showing Nix's deceptions, the VR reconstructions of Draven's affair routes, the forged power of attorney, and more. My heart pounded with a mix of excitement and dread. Today was the day. No more hiding in the shadows, no more playing nice. Today I would strike back, and there would be no turning back. Smells decent in here, Zephyrine called from the doorway, her voice dripping with that false sweetness she'd perfected over the years. She leaned against the frame, arms crossed, watching me like I was the help. But make sure the stuffing isn't dry this time. Last year it was a bit off. I wiped my hands on a towel, meeting her eyes without flinching. It'll be perfect. Just like always. She raised an eyebrow. You seem different today. More confident. Everything all right? Couldn't be better, I replied, turning back to the oven. Inside, the explosive energy built. I'd waited for this, gathering my strength through months of tense repression. Draven poked his head in next, phone in hand as usual. Need help, hun? He asked, but his tone was casual, like he knew I'd say no. I've got it, I said, plating the sides. Go sit with your family. Dinner's ready. He nodded and disappeared. Hawthorne shouted from the living room. Hurry up, game's about to start. I carried the first platters out, setting them on the table with careful precision. The good china gleamed under the lights, the one Zephyrine had gifted us, always reminding me it was a family heirloom. They settled in complacently, Draven at the head, Zephyrine to his right, Hawthorne slouching across from her. I took my seat last after serving everyone portions, my hands steady despite the storm inside. Looks good, Draven said, digging in. You outdid yourself again. Zephyrine forked a bite of turkey, chewing slowly. Adequate, but the gravy's a touch thin. You really should follow my recipe next time. Hawthorne laughed, mouth full. Yeah, sis-in-law, step it up. We're starving over here. I smiled faintly, picking at my plate as they chattered about work, holidays, and plans that never included me. So, Draven, Zephyrine said between bites, how's that promotion? Nick still assisting you well? Draven nodded. Yeah, she's great. Keeps everything running smooth. The name hung in the air, but I kept eating, waiting for the right moment. They stuffed themselves, plates emptying, the room filled with the clink of silverware and their smug satisfaction. Finally, as they leaned back, content, I stood up. Dessert time. Pie's in the kitchen. Zephyrine waved a hand. Bring it out, dear. We're ready. I went to the kitchen, but instead of the pie, I grabbed the stack of papers from the drawer. The divorce filings, thick with attachments. My lawyer, Larkspur, had prepared them perfectly. Every exhibit tabbed. The blockchain traces of hidden crypto, the NFT logs showing siphoned assets, the AI image analysis with mismatched metadata, proving Nix's faked timestamps and deceptions, the VR maps linking Draven's paths to unauthorized wires, the forged POA with Zephyrines IP on the edits, geo-fenced data, recovered voicemails, the mistaken will draft, and tucked in my pocket my phone with the app recorder ready. I carried the stack back, hidden under a napkin like a surprise dish. Here we go, I said, setting it in the center of the table instead of pie. They looked confused as I peeled back the napkin, revealing the documents. What's this? Draven asked, leaning forward. Some kind of joke? I stood tall, my voice steady but filled with quiet fury, each word landing like a blow. The dam was breaking, and I wasn't holding back anymore. No joke, Draven, this is the end. Your tryst with Nix dissolves our marriage. I've got the messages, the hotel receipts, the geo-fenced locations pinning you together. And the money? You've been siphoning our joint savings into hidden crypto wallets. NFTs you converted without me, all traced back through blockchain logs. Zephyrine, your fraud orchestration is laid bare. Texts arranging sham investments? Your IP on the forged power of attorney for the cabin, advising him every step. Hawthorne, you're in it too. That voicemail boasting about securing the family fortune. The mistaken will draft you emailed me, trying to undermine our prenup. Pandemonium erupted. Draven's face went pale, his fork clattering to the plate. What the hell? This is crazy. You've been spying? Zephyrine shot up, chair scraping back. You little sneak. This is all lies, fabricated nonsense. Draven, tell her she's overreacting. Hawthorne pounded the table. Whoa, hold on. That's not what it looks like. I didn't mean to send that email. This is bullshit. I held my ground, the satisfaction surging as I watched their stunned expressions crumble. Deny all you want. I've got proof. Every transfer, every lie. And Larkspur, my lawyer, has already filed for asset freezes. The courts have it all. Draven stood, face red. How could you do this? After everything? Nix is just a friend, work stuff. A friend you hid money for? I countered, pulling out my phone and hitting play on the app recorder I'd planted months ago. Voices filled the room, Draven's whispers to Nix about our future. Zephyrine's texts read aloud in a recovered audio clip. Hawthorne's deleted voicemail laughing about ditching the dead weight. Zephyrine clutched her chest, dramatic as ever. Turn that off. This is entrapment, illegal. It's not, I said calmly, though inside the explosive release felt like fireworks. Shared devices. Marital property. You all thought I was invisible, slaving away while you plotted. But I saw it all. The lipstick napkin, the bank alerts, the cabin footage from the drone. Even Nix's deceptions, those altered photos with metadata mismatches, proving she was lying to you too, Draven. About the baby? It's not yours. She's been playing you. Draven turned to Zephyrine. Mom, what did you do? You said it was secure. She pointed at me. She's twisting it. Hawthorne, back me up. Hawthorne stammered. We were just protecting the family. Come on, let's talk this out. No more talking, I said, my voice explosive now, the strength pouring out. You've humiliated me for years, criticizing my cooking, mocking my efforts, treating me like the outsider. But today it ends. These papers are served. Get out. Chaos reigned, Zephyrine yelling about lawsuits, Hawthorne grabbing his coat in panic, Draven pleading, wait, we can fix this. I love you. You love the convenience, I shot back, relishing their crumples. Now face the consequences. They stormed out one by one, doors slamming, tires screeching away. I sank into a chair, the room silent except for my heavy breathing. The satisfaction washed over me, strong and sweet, but tempered with a sharp edge. This was just the beginning. The hunter had struck, but now I had to wait to see what came next. The weeks following the explosive Thanksgiving confrontation were a blur of phone calls, legal meetings and sleepless nights, but I held my ground, fueled by the satisfaction of finally standing up to them. Draven called the next morning, his voice shaky over the line as I sipped coffee in the quiet kitchen, the remnants of the uneaten pie still on the counter. We need to talk, he said, sounding desperate. This can't be how it ends. Come on, let's meet neutral ground, a coffee shop. I can explain everything. I set my mug down, my hand steady now that the initial adrenaline had settled. Explain. Like how you explained the late nights as work? Or the transfers as investments? No. Draven, Larkspur will handle it. The papers are filed. He paused, then his tone shifted to pleading. Mom and Hawthorne, they pushed me into some of it. Nix too, but I love you. We've got 23 years. Doesn't that count? 23 years of me carrying everything while you plotted behind my back, I replied, my voice firm. The asset freeze is in place. Talk to your lawyer. I hung up and texted Larkspur right away. He's reaching out. What's next? Her response came quick. Court date set for next week. We've got the evidence locked, NFT logs, forgeries, all of it. Stay strong. The legal battle kicked off in a stark courtroom downtown. I sat beside Larkspur, my hands trembling slightly, though my resolve had never been stronger. I was no longer the victim as Draven entered with his attorney, Zephyrine and Hawthorne trailing behind like shadows. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s, flipped through the filings while Larkspur stood to present. Your Honor, we have irrefutable proof of asset concealment and fraud. Exhibit A, blockchain traces of crypto transfers disguised as charity donations, totaling over $150,000 from joint accounts. Draven's lawyer leaped to his feet. Objection, this is pure speculation. My client was investing for the family's future. But his voice wavered, as if even he wasn't sure of the lie anymore. Larkspur didn't flinch. Not speculative. Exhibit B, NFT transaction logs hidden in digital wallets, converted marital assets without consent. And Exhibit C, AI-enhanced image analysis showing altered metadata on photos from the affair, proving deception and timeline mismatches. The judge nodded. Proceed. I watched Draven squirm in his seat as Larkspur continued. Further, a forged power of attorney document for the cabin property, digital edits traced to Zephyrine's IP address, VR reconstructions from surveillance feeds, map, mister. Draven's routes to unauthorized wire transfers for lavish gifts during the affair. Zephyrine whispered loudly to Hawthorne, This is outrageous. Tell them it's a mistake. The judge banged her gavel. Quiet in the gallery. Hawthorne leaned over to Draven. Bro, what do we do? That will draft. I screwed up sending it. Draven shushed him, face ashen. Larkspur wrapped up. We request a robust division, half the reclaimed crypto holdings, full rights to the cabin, and compensation for emotional distress. Plus, embezzlement probes are underway. Nix has cooperated, providing her own recordings after learning of the deceptions. The mention of Nix hit like a bomb. Draven turned to his lawyer. What, she flipped? His attorney shrugged helplessly. She contacted the DA, said you lied about the funds being clean. Her evidence cache includes texts where you promised her the world, but the metadata shows she was juggling another guy. The baby's not yours. Paternity test confirmed it. Zephyrine gasped, clutching her purse. That tramp, Draven, you idiot! The judge silenced her again. Order, Mr. Draven. Your response? Draven stood, looking defeated. I made mistakes. But can we settle? Keep it out of the news? I locked eyes with him from across the room, feeling the volatile catharsis shift to something more fulfilling. No settlement, I said through Larkspur. Full disclosure. The hearing dragged into the afternoon, but by the end, the judge ruled in my favor. Based on the evidence, I grant the petitioner's requests. Assets divided as outlined, with additional penalties for fraud. Embezzlement charges referred to the district attorney. Draven slumped as the gavel fell. Outside the courtroom, Zephyrine cornered me in the hallway, her face twisted in rage. You think you've won? Our family name ruined because of you. I'll appeal. Drag this out for years. I stepped closer, resolute. Appeal all you want. Meridian's testifying next about your past meddling in Draven's relationships. How you derailed his ex with rumors. And the kin? They've heard the recordings. Your standing's crumbling. Cousins cutting ties. That bridge club you love? Whispers about the fraud. She blanched. You wouldn't. I already have, I said, evidence-backed retort ready. The voicemails, the texts, played at the family gathering last month. Your plots backfired. Hawthorne pulled her away. Mom, let's go. This is over. But it wasn't, not yet. Weeks later, at a follow-up hearing, Nix took the stand via video, her face pale but resolute. She knew this was her chance to make things right, even if it meant losing everything. I cooperated because he lied, she said, voice trembling. Promised a future, but the funds were stolen. My recordings show him planning the siphons with his mom, and the baby, it's my ex's. I altered those photos to keep Draven hooked. Draven's lawyer tried to object. Irrelevant, the judge overruled. Goes to character and fraud. I watched from the bench, satisfaction building as Draven faced embezzlement probes head-on. The DA's office called me in for a statement, and I laid it all out, the geofenced data, the recovered deleted messages, the lipstick napkin that started it all. Back home that evening, Meridian came over with takeout, and we sat on the couch, the weight of everything finally lifting. For the first time in years, I felt at peace, knowing I had reclaimed my life. You did it, she said, clinking her glass to mine. How do you feel? Like a weight's lifting, I replied, taking a sip. But they're still fighting. Draven begged for reconciliation yesterday. Showed up at the door with flowers. She rolled her eyes. What'd you say? I set my glass down. Told him no. Served the restraining order right there, evidence of harassment from his texts. He's facing charges now, could lose his job. Meridian nodded. And Zephyrine? Her reputation's shot, I said. Family circles buzzing Meridian, you vouching against her in that group chat? Sealed it. She's isolated, no more meddling. We ate in comfortable silence, the volatile energy from the confrontation evolving into a deep fulfillment. The next day, Larkspur called with updates. Settlement finalized. You get half the crypto, the cabin outright, and spousal support. Draven's pleading guilty to lesser charges to avoid trial. Good, I said, standing in the kitchen where it all began. Any pushback from Hawthorne? He's distanced himself, she replied. Testified minimally, but the will draft sunk them. Your evidence was airtight. I hung up and walked to the pantry, pulling out the old divorce papers from last year, the ones I'd hidden but never used. I shredded them, watching the pieces flutter into the trash. Her reversal was complete. Their plots had crumbled, leaving them fractured. And I stood, whole for the first time in years, though the path ahead was uncertain, the weight of it all still lingering. Months rolled on, the legal ties severing one by one. Draven moved out, Zephyrine retreated to her condo, rarely seen. Hawthorne sent a half-hearted apology email, but I deleted it. Meridian and I grew closer, her support unwavering. The catharsis settled. Fulfillment taking root, I'd reclaimed my life, turning their betrayal into my strength. One afternoon, Peregrine stopped by for a final check-in. Case closed, he said, handing over a flash drive. All backups. You okay? Better than okay, I replied, shaking his hand. Thanks to you. He smiled. You were the one who fought. As he left, I sat on the porch watching the sunset. The explosive release had faded, leaving a satisfying peace. They'd begged, denied, but facts won. Now, with the assets secure and their world shattered, I breathed free. 6 months after the final court ruling, I stood in my kitchen, the one that used to feel like a prison of endless holiday preps. But now it was just mine, peaceful. With sunlight streaming through the windows, I'd finally gotten around to cleaning my way. The divorce was official, papers signed and filed, leaving me financially secure. Half the reclaimed crypto holdings had turned into a nest egg, and the cabin was finally mine. No more hiding, no more fear of losing everything. Plus full ownership of the cabin where Draven and Nyx had thought they could hide their secrets. I set out plates for a small gathering, nothing extravagant. Just a simple roast chicken and sides I'd cooked with ease. No pressure from demanding in-laws. My true friends were coming over, people like Meridian who'd stuck by me through the mess, and a couple from my new support group who'd become like family. I arranged the table with fresh flowers I'd picked up from the market, humming a tune as I worked. The serenity was almost tangible, absent the poisonous burden of that old life. No more Zephyrines' nitpicks, no Hawthorne's freeloading laughs, no Draven's hollow compliments masking his betrayals. I poured myself a glass of wine and sat for a moment, reflecting on how far I'd come. The explosive catharsis from that Thanksgiving had faded into this calm, like a storm passing and leaving clear skies. The doorbell rang and I opened it to Meridian, her arms full with a dessert tray. Hey you, she said, stepping in with a warm hug. Smells amazing in here. No turkey this time. I laughed, taking the tray from her. No way, chicken's easier and no bad memories attached. Come on in, the others should be here soon. She followed me to the kitchen, setting down her purse. You look good, relaxed. How's the cabin treating you? Planning that getaway yet? Yeah, next weekend, I replied, slicing the chicken. Just me and some books. No drama, no schemes. It's weird but nice owning it outright after all that forgery mess. Larkspur made sure the title's clean now. Meridian nodded, grabbing plates to help set. Good. And Draven? Heard he's still sniffing around? I sighed, but it wasn't heavy anymore, just factual. He tried again last week. Showed up at the door with some lame bouquet, begging for another chance. I miss us, he said. Like the U.S. where he cheated and stole. She rolled her eyes. What'd you do? Served him the restraining order right there, I said, plating the food. Court approved thanks to his harassing texts. He backed off quick, mumbling about how it was all a mistake. But with the embezzlement guilty plea, he's on probation, lost his job at the firm, scraping by on odd consulting gigs. Meridian whistled low. Karma. And Zephyrine. She's still meddling from afar? I shook my head, carrying trays to the table. She's faded into isolation. After Meridian, you testified about her past schemes. And those family recordings went viral in our circles. Her bridge club dropped her. Cousins won't take her calls. Last I heard, she's in that condo alone, no one to boss around. Her interference cost her everything. Reputation shattered, no more queen bee. Good riddance, Meridian said, sitting down as the doorbell rang again. You deserve this piece. I opened the door to Sarah and Tom from the support group, both smiling with a bottle of sparkling cider in hand. Happy non-holiday gathering, Sarah said, hugging me. We brought bubbly, non-alcoholic for those of us in recovery mode. Come in, you two, I replied, leading them to the table. Food's ready. No formalities here, just good company. We sat down, the four of us, and dug in, sharing stories and laughter. These people, Meridian, Sarah, Tom, had become more than just friends. They were my new family, the ones who helped me rebuild after everything fell apart. Tom raised his glass first. To new beginnings. You've inspired us, sharing your story in the group. I clinked glasses, feeling a warm glow. Thanks. It's why I started that betrayal recovery workshop last month. Online sessions twice a week, helping others spot the red flags I missed for so long. Like hidden apps, weird bank alerts, family meddling. We've got 20 members already. Sarah nodded, chewing a bite. I joined after my own mess with an ex. Your tips on documenting evidence? Gold. How'd you get so savvy? Trial by fire, I said, passing the salad. Hired a PI like Peregrine, got a lawyer like Larkspur. But it started with trusting my gut. Those initial revelations, the napkin, the messages. Now I teach it. Journal red flags, confide in allies, prepare contingencies. Meridian chimed in. She's being modest. The way she turned their plots around, masterclass. Draven's appeals for reunion? Met with firm boundaries every time. Court orders now keep him away. Tom leaned back. And the financial side? You got what you deserved? More than, I replied, sipping my wine. Half the crypto cashed out at a high. Cabin's mine to rent or sell if I want. Spousal support covers the basics while I rebuild. No regrets, valuing myself over endurance was the real win. Sarah smiled. That's the message I take from your story. Self-respect trumps forced harmony. Inspiring. We talked for hours, laughter filling the room where silence used to reign after those toxic gatherings. As the evening wound down, Meridian helped clean up while Sarah and Tom headed out. See you at the next workshop, Sarah said at the door. You're changing lives. Drive safe, I called, waving them off. Back in the kitchen, Meridian dried the last dish. Proud of you. This is what freedom looks like. No more suffering. I hugged her. Couldn't have done it without you, or the group. Tranquility finally prevails. She left soon after, and I locked up, heading upstairs to bed. Draven had texted earlier, another plea, but I blocked the number. No response needed. Zephyrine. Radio silence, her world unraveled by her own meddling. Hawthorne faded too, probably chasing his next scheme elsewhere. I slipped under the covers, the house quiet but not lonely. Starting that workshop embodied my emancipation, sharing tools for others to break free, like assessing relationships, documenting suspicions, seeking counsel. No more invisible caretaker, I was visible, valued, calm. The next morning I woke to birds chirping, no rush. I brewed coffee and sat on the porch, finally able to plan for the future, not defined by my past, but by the strength I had found in myself. Life stretched ahead, solvent and liberated. The toxic weight gone, I savored the peace, knowing I'd chosen self over suffering. And if anyone asked, I'd tell them, it's never too late to reclaim your dignity. Have you ever felt that the person who hurt you the most is the one you trusted the most? If you've ever experienced being doubted, blamed, or hurt without being able to speak out, leave a I comment or briefly tell your story. No one is judging you here. We're just reminding each other of one thing. The truth may come late, but it always finds a way to be revealed. And if you want more stories like this about justice turning around, remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episode. On screen right now, you'll see 2 new stories I think you'll really enjoy. There are many more waiting for you on the channel, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss one. See you in the next story. Until then, take care of yourself and the people you love. With all my love and respect.